Welcome back, folks. We're getting back into the story. Very excited. Feel like we're right on the crux of something quite interesting. We're 16 nights in. It's quite a far reach so far. Definitely see where this takes us. Oh, we don't have very many options. Interesting. Oh, we have to rest. That makes sense. You wake up. This is not your haven. It's a cramped space. You try to move your arms and find they are tied to your body. You can barely bend your legs. When you try to stretch your neck, you hit a cold ceiling. You can't quite believe it, but this is a coffin, or something close to it. It vibrates slightly, but you can't hear any sounds coming in from outside. It's entirely dark. You focus and divert your blood to boost your senses. You begin to deduce some details. The vibrations mean you're in some kind of transport, maybe a car. You could just hear the suggestion of an engine's hum. The cold interior is metal, for sure. More sounds that you try to focus on. A male voice, indistinct. The crack of a radio? The brakes of the car. An impact. The container jostles about. The car door opens violently. You hear a gun being cocked. A panicked scream. Operation compromised! Engaging black bodies! A deafening shot rings in your ears. Dazed, you return your senses to their normal levels. The ringing continues. The lid comes off. What the? Hey, do we have them? Oh, let's get out of the fuck out of here. Seeing their faces is surprising, even more so in these circumstances. However, you realize the immediate danger and follow your companions out of the car and down a street in North Bronx. The van has crashed into another car. A familiar face, that of Kaiser's ghoul, Jackie, stumbles out of the wrecked sedan and slinks away into the darkness before you can call after him. The three of you jog away towards the line of the trees and take shelter under some branches. Just as you hear a chopper approaching, its searchlight illuminates the wrecked van and moves towards you. Uh-oh. Keep a low profile and hold your fire, Lamar. You know things are serious because Hope pockets her phone. She then disappears from sight. You look to Agathon, who seems to be fiddling with a pocket mirror. He breaks it and suddenly disappears from sight. You're left alone with just seconds to make your move before the spotlight finds you. You take off before the light can reach you. In just a single dash, you find a small, overgrown mound behind you, beneath an old tree. You realize you didn't have to run that far. The searchlight passes through where you were standing just seconds ago. It doesn't actually reach much farther into the park. The helicopter flies on, its searchlight frantically moving through the vicinity as your companions once again appear in your proximity. A team's in position, and the perimeter is clear. Let's get moving before the Inquisition shows up again. Wait, the Second Inquisition? What do they have to do with anything? Agathon, feel free to fill them in on while I keep an eye out for a ride, K. Second Inquisition. They raided your haven, immobilized you, and were planning on taking you upstate to secure a facility. Your secure facility. For further examination, I'm guessing. Kaiser let me know that you were in trouble. Kaiser organized this whole effort? Why would he do that?
Maybe your patron asked him for help. I'm sure she figured out that you're in trouble.
Out of time. The cavalry's here. Never had a chance to peek into Kaiser's limos. I hope the old fart has good ideas for a moving data fortress, because I'm about to steal them. Kaiser's familiar car stops nearby, and the back door opens. Your allies usher you inside and join you. Being inside this mobile fortress never felt like relief. Until now.
Hey, fledgling. Miss me?
No, not really. But I will say this, I'm glad you're here.
Well, I'm not overly fond of breaking licks out of covert SI transport, so I consider this an investment. You are here now only because I told your buddies that you were neck deep in shit. This van you were in, a one-way ticket to Hartville, Pennsylvania. I broke you out as a favor. Now you owe me big.
Hope snorts.
What's so funny, Jester?
Hartville? Pennsylvania?
What? You like it?
Yeah, it's literally the funniest thing I've ever heard. Is there a Usenet where you can workshop these bits with other ancient demons? Can I get in?
Everyone's a critic.
Was it Sophie who asked you to help me?
Ha! Now that would have been rich. Sophie Langley, stooping down to ask me for help. Oh, please. My adopted child is in danger. Save them, won't you, Kaiser, sir? Nah, fledgling. She didn't come calling. And if she did, I'd have her beg. I'd have her do a lap dance, if the stuck-up bitch even knows what that is. She wouldn't do that. You're worth less to her than her pride. I don't appreciate that kind of talk. Langley might be all that you're saying she is, but I won't just listen to you disrespect a woman. You better do one of your tricks and summon earplugs out of the air then, before I tell you a thing or two about your dear Aisling. Don't you dare.
For a moment, the atmosphere grows thick. Kaiser's hoarse laughter breaks the silence.
Oh man, you must be fun. Real fun at parties. Anyway, to get us back on track, I have a good idea why the SI hit you, Lamar. Not that there are tons of good reasons for it. I mean, it might have been one of these, for instance.
The screens in Kaiser's car flicker, and each of them now show a short-lived clip. It's you getting into a fight, feeding, using one of your powers.
You haven't exactly kept a low profile, fledgling. I get it. You're new to this. You didn't know better, yada yada yada. The fact is, the SI has tons of this stuff. Security camera footage, YouTube videos posted by onlookers, social media posts from victims. You name it. Like I said, I don't think any one of these did you in. Slip-ups happen. The reason I need you walking and talking, Lamar, is to test a hypothesis of mine. For that, I need you to finish what you were tasked to do. So, first things first. Here.
He hands you a phone. The number has already been dialed. You hear the tone. Somebody picks up. Who's this? You don't say anything. Hello?
Hey, Langley.
What do you want?
There's somebody here who wants to talk to you. They're just shy.
Shoots you a glance that doesn't leave much up for interpretation. Sophie, it's me. Lamar, are you okay? What are you doing with that creep?
Tisk. Temper, or I cut the line. A fledgling's throat. Come on, Lamar, spit it out.
Listen, I got captured by the Second Inquisition, but I'm Find them. Second Inquisition. That's what I fear. Listen, the plan. We need to do it tonight. But if the Inquisition is involved and you break out, they'll be looking for you. So we can't. I have a place in mind, but Kaiser, are you listening?
Would I tell you if I wasn't?
Lamar called this number from where you visited before last we spoke. I'll come pick you up. She hangs up.
And that's that.
Riddles, riddles, riddles. Secrets, 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 secrets. Can a girl get a hint here? I'm more interested in what our next move is.
Your next move is keeping your asses seated in this luxury vehicle while our mutual acquaintance continues with their night. If my intel is worth a damn, your next stop, Lamar, is right about here.
The car comes to a stop, and the door opens. Outside, you see the street leading to Solids and Stripes, Torque's pool pub.
Well, you need me to kick you out?
What about Hope and Hackathon?
What about them? They're staying right where they are. And we're going to have a little chat. After we're done, I'm sure they'll find their way back to their havens just fine. The clock is ticking. I think I know what Sophie wants to do tonight, and if I'm right, tonight's the last chance you've got. If you want to say bye to your buddies before you go, that's fine by me. But that schedule of yours is pretty hectic, so you better do it now and scram.
You thank both of your companions for their assistance. Without them, you wouldn't be here now. Kaiser makes a gagging gesture and urges you to step out of the car. You turn around and make your way to the bar. The door closes behind you, and Kaiser's limo starts moving again. You hope your companions won't have to pay too high of a price for helping you. The Solids and Stripes is pretty much abandoned tonight, with only the bartender and one bleary-eyed local watching an old Bogart movie on the bar screen. You ask to use the phone and call Sophie first. Yes. I'm at the bar. Good. We'll be there in 15 minutes. If Torque's not there, notify him. We need to move, and fast. She hangs up. You tell the bartender to notify Torque, just like the Anarch leader mentioned you should. The man makes a short call. You only hear somebody picking up, but no words exchange.
The owner is on his way right now. Can I get you anything while you're waiting?
Actually, do you serve the, special stuff? The bartender raises an eyebrow. The special reserve, you mean?
Sorry, I only serve that to a narrow selection of the owner's friends.
Well, I am one of his friends.
Nah, it's a list. And if you're not on the list, then you're not on the list. I know because it hasn't changed for a while now. Sorry. Everything else in the bars are for grabs, though. Sure you don't want something? You shake your head.
Torque comes in 10 minutes later, without Mia. He tips his hat to you, puts a hand on the bleary-eyed patron's shoulder, and says something to him under his breath. They both laugh.
How's the night going? Quiet, sir. Just how you like it. Well, Ron, I believe you wanted me here for a reason. Let's hear it.
You're about to tell him what brought you here, when the doors to the bar open and Sophie walks in, all splendor and charisma. The patron's eyes are now glued to her, and so are the bartender's. Torque isn't happy with the sight.
Well, this isn't what we agreed on, Lamar, Care to explain?
Torque, meet Sophie. Pleasure to make your acquaintance. I believe Lamar already told you why I'm here.
Not in any detail. The circumstances of our meeting were supposed to be different. So, Miss Langley, tell me why I shouldn't ask you to leave and kick out your protege while I'm at it?
You will like what I have to say.
Yeah, I heard that line 100 times, but 99 of those ended up with somebody getting hurt. And that's not something I'm in the mood for tonight.
We are wasting time. There is a unique opportunity we should take advantage of, and we only have an hour or so to discuss it before it will become time to act. My driver is waiting outside.
Wait a goddamn minute. First of all, I'm not going anywhere without Mia. That was the deal. Second, it's Lamar who was supposed to do the driving, not your servant.
Both serve me, so really it's of little difference. The circumstances changed, and we had to adapt. Don't be stubborn. Foolishness does not suit you. I have a secure spot in mind where we can talk.
I'll stop you right there.
Torque is seething, but he's keeping a lid on his anger. His voice barely changes.
My conditions were clear. The way I heard it, you want to break each one of them. I see no reason at all to agree to any of this. I believe I will be staying put tonight. You have places to be. Yes?
Torque, you're throwing away the only chance you have of challenging Callahan. Don't be a fool.
The lid comes off. Call me a fool one more time, woman, and that's not the only thing I'm going to be throwing.
Torque, listen to Sophie. You can't afford to miss this opportunity. Callahan has to be stopped.
I did not ask for your opinion, fledgling.
If death stares could actually kill,
You'd be decapitated by this one.
Sophie smiles. Isn't that just typical? You're all for democracy and the rule of the many, but only as long as they vote your way. Dissenting voices are silenced. You're no better than Callahan.
Fuck this.
Torque takes a bottle off the counter and breaks it over the bar. With a jagged piece of glass in his hand, he points at Sophie.
You two have precisely until the count of 5 to get out of here before I cut you up into little pieces. 1.
You wouldn't dare.
Try me. 2.
Shots break from the front window, and a flashbang goes off in the room, changing the bar into a space of white light and ringing noise. You feel somebody tugging at your back, and are thrown behind the bar. More shots ring out, bottles break, the TV shatters into pieces. The wooden bar splinters. Your sight comes back, but you think you've gone deaf, because suddenly the room is silent. You seek Torque behind you and Marty, the bartender bleeding out on the floor. You look out at the bar. Sophie is standing there, her dress is partially tattered, a visible hole in her leg. She is like the heart of a supernova, entrancing, unavoidable, beautiful and terrifying. In front of her are 8 operatives looking like a private military force, just standing there, paralyzed by Sophie's magnificence. Torque, you still there?
Yeah.
Would you kindly show your guests some hospitality?
Sure thing.
The anarch is gone in the blink of an eye, and he reappears next to one of the soldiers. The armor-clad operative's head disappears in a puff of blood and bone. The same thing happens the second, the third. You hear the radios go off on the on the other soldiers' shoulders, a panicked voice pleading them to wake up. Fourth head pops. The fifth. They finally realize what's happening, but it's too late. The sixth man is beheaded by what you now see is just Torque's bare-fisted punch. Torque stops by the seventh man, rips something off of his neck, and bites down. Sophie walks over to the last man and has him kneel in front of her before biting as well. On your right, a man in full body armor emerges from the back door, raising his assault rifle. What the fuck? With a rush of speed, you take hold of the soldier's gun. He's too surprised to hold on to it. You turn it on him and shout the first thing that comes to your mind. On the ground, now! The combat knife crashes through the soldier's visor and into his skull. You turn around. Torque is grinning. He mouths something under his breath. You can hear the exact words. Still got it. Langley? Sophie wipes her mouth with blood and looks at him. That meeting's still an item. Yes, I'll take it. Splendid. Torque walks behind the bar and checks on the bartender. You see the Anarch open his own wrist and feed blood to the wounded man. Drink up, Marty. It'll make you feel better. Get the hell out of here and wait for Mia. She's coming, and she'll know what to do. Torque. Yeah, coming. Take the back door. Lamar, come on. You slink back into an alley behind the bar, leaving 10 bodies and one grievously wounded ghoul behind. Nobody stops you from circling around the block and finding your way to Sophie's car. Gregory drives away casually, as if this was just another late-night drive, and not the crowning of a desperate, complicated evening. The sense of irony is just overwhelming. The place where Sophie brought Torque turns out to be the very same apartment in which you were embraced. The way she explains it, the vampire who owned it left the city a few years ago and gave away spare keys to a few trusted compatriots. It's been used sporadically since. Fancy. You like it? It always felt too modern for my tastes. But what's important is that it's secure. As long as nobody followed your car here, or the fledgling. Trouble follows this one wherever they go. Even if that's the case, we have very little time to conduct our business here anyway, and we'll be leaving soon, I hope. So, let's begin. You look at Sophie, excited. Finally, you will learn what it is that you'll be working towards for more than a week, and what it is that Kaiser wanted you to participate in. I have it on good authority that Boss Callahan is bloodbound to Prince Panhard. Torque sucks air in loudly. That's an accusation and a half there, Langley. Got proof? No, but we're just a boat ride away from getting it. What is that supposed to mean? Lamar, the address that I procured from Kaiser was the meeting spot for Panhard's and the Baron's regular sharing of blood and other bodily fluids, if the rumors are true. Wait, Kaiser knew about this? Is there anything that insufferable clump of dead skin doesn't know in this city? He knows things, but only shares them if you pay. Neither the prince nor Callahan can touch him. He's too useful. Kaiser said something about having plans for me, that he wanted me to make this meeting happen. That can't be good, right? That's an interesting point. I think Kaiser might be as interested in shaking up the status quo as we are. A chaotic landscape makes a great market for him, unlike a static one. I don't like playing into that creep's hands, but at least now I know that I'm doing it. The devil you know, and all that. What was the address he gave you?
They meet regularly on Ellis Island. In fact, the next scheduled meeting starts in just around a half an hour.
Hot damn, I'm guessing you want to crash that meeting. Why?
So you can see the proof for yourself. So that I can make sure too. And so that I have an extra pair of eyes for Panhard to consider while I present her my ultimatum. The prince must abandon her seat and leave New York City. She can go wherever she pleases. But if she stays, the entire court will know. The next prince might not look favorably on her past. Dealing with anarchs, especially so closely, is a punishable offense in the Camarilla, and I'm sure you've heard.
So I did. Torque strokes his beard and looks intently at Sophie. What exactly are you trying to accomplish here? Say you remove Panhard, and I even remove Callahan. Then what?
Torque, did you ever wonder why Callahan is keeping you in check? Because I wondered why the prince condemns anarchs during her visits to Elysium, but doesn't allow the Ivory Tower to challenge you. She, or they, have engineered this status quo not for the good of their sex, but for private gain. They keep us all in line, because it lets them hold onto power that much longer.
And your goal is what? Make this Cold War turn hot? Not a great plan. You cammies will get your butts kicked out of New York in no time.
If you anarchs manage to organize, which I doubt you will, at any rate, I am at risk. It's a risk I'm willing to take. I don't stand alone in this. This entire operation has been in the making for years. Torque, I am offering you a chance to square things with Callahan, and level the playing field. If we get rid of these two, we can start on equal footing at the next stage of this dance macabre.
Wait, isn't this copying the same status quo you're hoping to break? Just another Camarilla Anarch agreement to replace the current one?
Well, for one, I don't expect to engage in physical congress with Torque to seal the deal.
Fair enough. Also, if I understand your intention, this is just an alliance of convenience. A ceasefire for a common benefit, not a lasting peace treaty. Did I get that right?
Exactly. So you see, Lamar, it's nothing like the current arrangement. It's quite the opposite. Wiping the slate clean.
You know, after all these years spent in Callahan's shadow and taking part in all the kindred dick-measuring contests, I should expect a ruse, some ploy to kill me in an out-of-the-way place. That's our inherent paranoia talking. My gut tells me it's time to get this show started. I do hope you have a boat nearby, Langley.
Sophie smiles mischievously. Of course I do. It's waiting for us by the pier.
Lead the way then. Moonlight's burning.
The three of you leave the apartment and walk toward the pier. Nobody seems to be following you. You get on a small patrol boat and double time it through the Hudson's cold, dark waters. Out of all the places in New York City where the Prince and the Baron could meet, and is Ellis Island, a landmark with a dark past. A museum on one hand, a dilapidated piece of history on the other. You leave the boat and make your way to the southern part of the island, paying no heed to the renovated tourist attractions on the northern side. You expected some resistance, a night guard, a helicopter flying overhead, or maybe a New York Police Department patrol boat. Nothing. The island seems completely deserted. It's clear this sets Sophie on edge. She's moving as quietly and subtly as ever, but you can see that she is eager to reach the particular house her intel pointed out. Torque is following suit, grimly determined, flashing his piercing gaze all over, still clearly uncertain that this is some kind of con. Finally, you see it. Light coming from a window in one of the buildings and at the edge of the island. The three of you slowly creep closer to the building and take a look inside the window. There it is. Callahan, kneeling in front of the prince, sucking on Panhard's wrist, both fully clothed. A small blessing. Torque makes his move before Sophie can stop him. He busts through the building's doors. It all happens very quickly. Torque grabs Callahan by the shoulders and throws him through the still open door. Callahan hits the ground hard. Torque appears on top of him and starts punching.
You fucker. You piece of shit.
Stop. The prince's voice takes hold for just long enough to make Torque relent, which the Baron uses to the fullest. He shoves Torque off himself and tries to bite down. Prince, call off your lapdog. Langley, what is the meaning of this? The two anarchs break apart, both wounded, but neither is quite done yet. They look at one another with pure hatred. Oh, I've never seen this boy.
Kill the bitch, Helen.
Nope, that's not it. That's not it. Okay. They got hold and bleed.
Oh. Kill the bitch, Helen. But leave the fledgling to me. Right after I deal with the shit stain I'm gonna.
A shrill, unpleasant laugh fills the air. You know who it belongs to. So entertaining, truly. It feels almost a shame to break up this spectacle, but alas. Thomas.
Who the fuck is this joker?
Ah, yes. I don't think we've met. Though I did hear a lot about you, Mr. Torque. My name is Thomas Arturo, and Callahan uses this moment of uncertainty to strike. He's still too slow for Torque, who throws the boss onto the lawn where the two exchange blows once again. Helen, if you're so kind to ask your friend to not hurt our guest too much. Callahan, don't kill him. This time, Callahan comes out on top and grabs Torque in an iron hold. Your companion struggles, but can't quite break away.
I will not be denied, Helen. Not this time.
You will do as I command. And she will do as I command her, Douglas, old boy. What? Like I was saying before, I was so rudely interrupted. I feel like I need to break up this little spectacle. It's been going on for much too long. You think you're so smart, Langley, you and your clique. Figured out that there was something fishy going on all on your own, but you were always working with just a piece of the puzzle. Wasn't she, Lamar? Sophie looks to you, shocked and disappointed. What are you? What I'm talking about, you asked? You fledgling, you don't know. How could you? Only I knew. And your sire, of course. They're the ones who agreed to embrace you after some negotiations. You hear a scream and a curse. It's Callahan, whose arm has been nearly ripped off his body. Torque breaks out of the Baron's grasp, but doesn't continue the attack. Instead, he's at the edge of the water in the blink of an eye, and disappears into the Hudson. The only trace left of him is his fedora. Another actor going off script at the very end? Ugh. No matter. Excuse me. Let me bring up some amusement now to the production of... Let me bring up some amusement now, and the production is almost wrapped up. He'll reach his allies. He'll tell everyone of this. And even if we naively assume his nights are numbered now that he's in the SI's sights, this show must go on one way or another. Won't hurt to encourage leaks or speculation. Sophie looks at you. How could you, Lamar? I saved you. Arturo suddenly appears next to her and slaps her in the face. Langley, Langley, Langley. What happened to your self-esteem? You can't really think a simple neonate has outplayed you. Or maybe his oblivious act is your way of groveling for mercy. Thomas, what? You thought that being an excellent chess player would always be enough. You never realized that people at the top simply flip the chessboard over and punch you in the face whenever they don't like how the game is going. He motions to the remaining kindred. But the thing is, you weren't even adept at playing the game you knew, Lamar. Just another pawn placed on the board by my associate. You thought they were your piece to sink since you took them in, but who gave you that idea? You returned to the night where you were judged by Prince Panhard. The woman in red, Sophie. Somebody speaking to her. A man in glasses. The man standing before you now. This is cruel. We know what's going to happen. If only someone would speak to the poor child, they could have used the tool for the Camarilla. Terror creeps over Sophie's face. Of course. Those are not the words you heard, were they? No. You were already grasping for some opportunity to further your scheme. I put the bait out, and you took it. Hook, line, and sinker. After that, it was only a matter of time before you started using Lamar as your errand boy. No one is quite as easy to track and monitor as a naive fledgling who's just learning the ropes. What is it that you want, Thomas? What do I want? Oh boy, the answer's so simple, but so hard to put into words. Unstable stability, cutting edge tales of thrills and intrigue that push you to the limit and then return you to the tried and tested status quo, gently, infallibly. A system full of distracting moving parts which simulate conflict so convincingly that its users never feel the need to direct their energy towards upsetting the system, achieving the eternal through the disposable. Building a city that's like a ship of Theseus, constantly changing its parts, just always maintaining the same purpose, serving the same goal at all times. A large-scale infrastructure that has something like an exhaust system for a spirit. Something like that disperses the toxicity around instead of concentrating it in a single place. None of what you're saying makes the slightest bit of sense. Arturo is momentarily stopped in his tracks. He stares in the sky for a few seconds before a sad grin appears on his face. Spoken like someone who's never really had what it takes to make it in the big leagues. With a theatrical snap of fingers, he gives his last sentence a sense of finality. Something's changed in the air. A woman's shape slinks behind Sophie's back. Goodbye, Sophie. A person appears behind Sophie. You can't believe your eyes. Is Adelaide Davis, holding garden shears in her hands. You take off and rush towards Sophie, but only take a few steps before a figure blinks right next to you and pushes you away. Arturo. You hear the shears snip. Sophie's red hair conceals her face as her head falls, separated from her shoulders. Silence. Arturo's unpleasant laughter erupts right next to you. Oh, Lamar, your career's moving at breakneck speed, moving up and up and up.
Let me congratulate you on your promotion. What do you want from me? What's the rush? I was about to get to that. Helen, feel free to leave us and take the Baron with you. Thomas, I don't think you should. Shush. You're just being jealous. Adelaide, escort the prince and dear old Douglas, please. Sure thing, darling. You were left alone next to Sophie's body. You try not to look, but it's hard to ignore her lithe frame decomposing in front of your eyes. Congratulations, you've won the little game. You set out on a suicide mission and successfully brought down the power-hungry wannabe tyrant, even if it probably wasn't the way you imagined it. Now you're probably free to enjoy paradise again, life after death, immortality, eternal youth. What they don't tell you is, of course, living in paradise is inherently sinful when not everyone can partake. Do you have time to learn how to live with sin? But you have time to learn how to live with sin, don't you? He takes a melancholic look at the city skyline surrounding him. The Statue of Liberty and the lights of Manhattan shimmering in the distance. You know, New York taught me to believe in fate. My life began right here, and it began with utter despair. My first instinct was to drown myself in books and keep reading, and reading until literature gave me the piece of wisdom I needed to go on. Personally, I find reading a silly hobby in retrospect. I always had this minuscule hope that the next sentence I'd read could finally bring me salvation, but it never did. It only gave me fuel for this elevated, righteous intellectual suffering. But the more I read, the easier it was for me to boil every paragraph down to a power relationship. The characters' influence over each other, the writer trying to impress the reader, etc. The strings everyone pulls started to look like strands that weave into the fabric of fate, and once I saw its beauty, I got teary-eyed. My architect instincts kicked into overdrive. I didn't have to submit to fate. All I had to do was cooperate with it and wait for my time to shine. Give it my input wherever it needed until it trusted me to do more. Thomas steps over what's left of Sophie, wiping his glasses with an elegant cloth from his pocket. And it did. Fate let me look at this city. With my architect's tools, I started quietly shaping the streets and corridors, while Kaiser and his ilk shaped the information flow. And among many tools, this process gave me one of them. Among the many tools this process gave me, one of them was a way to reliably come up with useful agents like you. The methods I used were crude at times, but the route was there. All you had to do was follow it. Some people write rulebook passages, the others play city arteries. In the end, the effect is the same. Someone always follows. He puts on the glasses and gives you a long, hard look. You know, I have grown fond of you. You did so well. Even when that idiot Callahan tipped the Inquisition off, you still got out. I like that kind of resourcefulness. I could use that kind of resourcefulness. He uncovers his wrist. So take my blood. Just enough so we can start off the right foot, as a sign of good faith. A sign that you're ready to play in the big leagues, ready to behold the sights I've prepared for you. That's well, that was good. I enjoyed that. Cool. That was the thing. Man, what a cliffhanger. Like, just kind of stuck on that. But it's still a cool story. So at some point we'll definitely do more of like we'll play through like a Brujah. I think we'll do a Brujah playthrough at some point, because Brujah tend to be more philosophers, tend to be more, I don't know, like fuck the system and that kind of stuff. And we didn't play as heavy that this time because I wanted to be more artsy and lean into Sophie and all that, being a Toreador. But I think for the next playthrough we're gonna do a Brujah, but that's probably gonna be in a little bit. I'll probably like do that on like probably do that on like Mondays and Fridays, on my like off streams, especially considering now I know like how I guess now I know this how long the game is, I guess. So it's like about 2 streams if I were to try to actually fit that in, because I could have done that last night, I guess. So that's good to know.